So far in this series, we've talked about what mandalas are, why they appear, how to draw them, and how meanings begin to emerge when we sit with them. To close, I want to talk about something very simple. Why keep doing this at all? Why return to mandalas once the curiosity wears off? And the answer is not because mandalas solve problems. They don't. They don't fix us, they don't diagnose us, they don't tell us what to do next. But what they do instead is they offer companionship. They offer us the companionship of a mirror, of our own self. So they don't rush us. Life rushes us. Life has a way of rushing us. And we are often pushed to explain ourselves quickly or improve ourselves quickly or move on quickly. But mandalas don't participate in that urgency. They tell us of a part of us that exists beyond time, that existed when time was not there. Like, for example, as little children, they don't particularly demand our understanding also, that we don't need to conclude various things. They just simply meet us where we are at again and again. And the biggest thing that the mandala does raise a question: what is trying to organize itself right now? And that question by itself is a very stabilizing and a healing question, because what is trying to stabilize is the self, and just realization of that is a stabilizing thing. And when you draw mandalas over time, something subtle happens. They begin to witness your life, not as a story that you tell in a linear form of one thing happening after another, but as patterns that appear. And you might notice the same shape or pattern returning during stress, similar colors appearing during certain moods, centers tightening or loosening over weeks or months. So the mandala doesn't judge these patterns, it just holds them and holds them for us to notice. And being held without judgments, that changes things. One of the quiet truths about healing and growth is that change doesn't always come from effort. Sometimes it comes from being seen, from rest, from being tracked, from just being allowed to unfold. And mandalas support this kind of change. They allow movement without pushing us in a certain way. They allow awareness without putting pressure on us to understand and interpret. Though you don't need to understand everything for something to shift. And oftentimes the shift happens first and the understanding comes later. That's why mandala work best not as an exercise but as a practice of return. You return to a mandala when you are overwhelmed, when you're calm, when you don't know what you feel, when you're bored, when something important has happened but you can't name it yet. It's like a check-in. Each mandala is a check-in, not with your thinking mind but just with your whole system. And over time, you may find that the act of drawing itself becomes grounding, because it creates space and it gives us the awareness of self and self-energies. And there's no advanced mandala practice. There's no correct style. There is no right outcome. Some mandalas will feel meaningful. Some will feel flat, and some might feel that you hurried through them, pressured by life. Some you may not like at all, but that's part of the relationship. Things that you don't like in a mandala are just things about yourself that were present at that time, and it does give us the opportunity to learn to accept us in different ways, different times. And just like any relationship, it deepens through honesty and through continuity and showing up. So a mandala is something that you return to, and shows you how attention gathers, how meaning organizes, how your inner world responds to life. And if a mandala leaves you more patient with yourself, more curious about your inner life, or a little less alone with what you're carrying, then it has done its work. And sometimes you can work with professionals who work with mandalas, and you remain the authority on your own inner life, but guides or people who do direction, spiritual direction, they can be helpful in this journey called life. Thank you very much for being with me in this series about mandalas, and I hope this practice brings many blessings to you.